You guys watching
everything
Salt Lake right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Salt Lake is I
Alicia
believe
Barlow.
Yeah.
That's Cassavetes.
That's Cassavetes.
I won't get threads. That's good to know.
I think she looks good.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, the first update we have today is about a celebrity clash that kind of sparked immediate fan debate. We're talking actress Jennifer Lawrence and Lisa Barlow. So, the core issue? Lawrence criticized Barlow's cosmetic work, and yeah, that led to some pretty public backlash over appearance shaming. Here's what went down. Jennifer Lawrence was on a podcast, right? And she commented on Lisa Barlow getting facial threads. You know, that procedure where they put threads under the skin to kind of lift things. Lawrence pretty much said, I won't get threads. That's good to know. And get this, when a host tried to compliment Barlow, Lawrence just shut it down with a real sarcastic, okay? Kind of harsh, right? Well, social media didn't waste any time reacting. Critics jumped in, calling Lawrence rude and asking, why is the focus always got to be on women's looks? A lot of fans felt pretty strongly that women shouldn't be tearing down other women's appearances, especially because some felt Barlow was aging somewhat naturally anyway. But then you had other folks defending Lawrence. They argued her comments were actually kind of mild, especially when you think about the crazy insults that fly around on the Real Housewives shows themselves. They brought up past insults from the show, like someone being called inbred, suggesting maybe the outrage here was a little over the top given that context. So yeah, this whole thing really highlighted that tension between celebrity criticism and what fans expect when it comes to female reality stars and how they look as they age. Before we get into the next update, please make sure you've liked this video and subscribed to this channel. Okay then, let's move on to next update now.
Okay, next we are going to talk about the escalating custody battle involving Gina Kirschenheiter's boyfriend, Travis Mullen. So, Travis, who you might recognize from Real Housewives of Orange County, is in a really tough legal fight with his ex-wife, Meghan Mullen. It's all about the custody of their 3 kids. Things really heated up late last month, October 29th actually, when Travis filed for temporary sole custody. He wants to change things up from the joint legal and physical custody they've had since late 2021, basically asking for Meghan to only have supervised visits with their daughters Presley and Bennett and their son Joseph. Now, his big concerns? He says Meghan stopped him from seeing one of their children since September 29th. Plus, he mentioned she hasn't been getting the kids to school, apparently to the point where school officials were threatening to report it to the district attorney. He actually wrote in the court docs he's worried about his son's welfare and feels like the, quote, system has completely failed him. Well, Meghan fired back the very next day. She's claiming Travis is just misusing the courts for, quote, coercive control and retaliation. She insists their son just doesn't want to spend time with Travis and says she is, in fact, talking to the school about the missed days. And she brought up something else, too, alleging the kids are exposed to comments about their private lives because of Travis's appearances on RHOC. Travis then filed again, strongly denying Meghan's claims, especially the suggestion their child is afraid of him, or that he messed with her social media. He points out that Meghan still lets their 2 older children stay with him during his custody time. So where does that leave things? Following Travis's initial request for sole custody back in March, both sides actually agreed to have a child custody evaluator look into everything and report back to the court.
So this was today's update about the custody dispute between Travis and Meghan Mullen. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we're going to talk about Alexis Bellino's pretty explosive claims regarding the whole dynamic among the Real Housewives of Orange County cast, especially with the season 19 reunion wrapping up. It really illuminates her perspective on, the kind of high-stakes game you gotta play to survive on that show. So, the core thing. Alexis is saying that every single woman on that RHOC stage is playing a game, they've got a strategy. And specifically, she claims their big goal, altogether, is to get Tamra Judge off the show for season 20. Wow. And why would they do that? Well, Alexis believes it all comes down to jealousy. Tamra's been on the longest, and Alexis argues Tamra really carries the show forward. Not only that, but she thinks the cast actually fears Tamra's intelligence because, she's smart and isn't afraid to call out the truth. This whole idea kind of clarifies some of the recent drama, right? Like when Tamra called out Katie Janela for supposedly leaking stuff about Gretchen Rossi, and then turned around and exposed Katie for secretly recording Shannon Beador. Alexis noted that even though Katie was kind of pushed out by the group initially, Tamra patched things up with her pretty fast, mostly because they both had issues with Gretchen. Alexis described being a housewife as a seriously difficult career, actually comparing it to playing Survivor. She mentioned how cast members have to walk this really fine line, like trying not to tick everyone off so they don't end up like Katie on the desert island, but still trying to be honest. But she also reminded us, this whole thing is entertainment, right? It's meant to help people escape their own reality for a bit. So this was today's update about Alexis Bellino's take on the RHOC strategy. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we are going to talk about the latest sign of reconciliation in the Giudice and Gorga family feud. You know, after years and years of being estranged, it looks like Gia Giudice and her uncle, Joe Gorga, have actually refollowed one another over on Instagram. So this kind of signals a possible shift, right? Especially since it happened, about 2 weeks after Joe and his wife, Melissa Gorga, had that reunion with his sister, Teresa Giudice, and her husband, Louis Ruelas. Now, Teresa, she talked about meeting up with Joe on her podcast, Turning the Tables by Teresa Giudice. She basically said she wanted to discuss all the tension they've had for so long, and her only reason, she really just wants peace for her daughters and for her nephews and niece too. You know, trying to set a better example about forgiveness. She also made it super clear this wasn't about fixing the cast drama or trying to lock down filming for another season or anything like that. Teresa insisted she only knows how to be real, she doesn't really do fake, and she wants this piece to be the real deal and actually last. So this was today's update about the Giudice-Gorga family situation. Let's now move on to next update. Okay, next we are going to talk about some of that latest reality TV tension. Specifically, what Gina Kirschenheiter had to say about fellow Real Housewives of Orange County alum, Shannon Beador. So Gina was recently on Vicki Gunvalson's podcast, my friend, my soulmate, my podcast, right? And she kind of illuminated this long-running feud she has with Shannon Beador. Gina started off saying Shannon was just, quote, mean to her for no reason. But then she clarified what really kicked things off. Apparently, years ago, Gina told one of the other women, this was off camera, that she thought it was really stupid for Shannon to announce on camera that she hadn't had sex with her husband, David Beador, for a whole year. Now, Gina argued that because David was, good-looking and rich, Shannon basically put a target on his back by saying that. And Gina insists she was right, that other women did go after him. She even suggested Shannon should have immediately, like the very next episode, come back saying something totally opposite, like, oh, I screwed his brains out every morning, night, and evening now, just to counteract the whole thing. Beyond all that drama, Gina also gave us a quick update on her sons Colton and Shane, who you might remember from the early seasons. Her son Colton, he's got a big job in fire insurance now over in Camarillo, California. He'd been in Florida but came back because he missed his friends. And her other son, Shane, he lives out in Jacksonville, Florida, near his daughter. He's working in real estate and also runs an environmental sustainability agency. Pretty cool. So this was today's update about Gina Kirschenheiter's comments on Shannon Beador and the status of her sons. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we are going to talk about a controversial clip involving Louis Ruelas, Teresa Giudice's husband. So, yeah, a video surfaced online and it's pretty intense. Lots of profanity. It seems to show him aggressively ranting against an ex-partner. And this all popped up right after a court case he had against his former fiancée, Vanessa Reiser, got dismissed. In the clip itself, well, it depicts Louis yelling, really going off on this unnamed ex. He's apparently heard using some really extreme language, even threatening physical violence, saying something like he'd smack her right over the fucking head with a 9-iron if it was legal. Crazy, right? He also accused her of degrading him.
Myself. They don't make a book for it, they don't write a book, but they don't have a woman out there that's gonna tell me what to do the way you tell me. You deliver things with an iron fist, bitch, and that's why you get it back verbally to you. I don't fucking care. I'm pissed. I'm fucking angry. Angry. I've watched my children bleed in anger and pain. I've watched them scream and cry. They go to school and I go to their bed and grab their pillow. As I sat here alone dealing with all that with my shit while you made yourself important about you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Swear to God, if it was legal, I swear to God, I'd go over there right now with my fucking 9-iron and I'd smack you right over the fucking head, you fucking cunt. You have no idea what the fuck you've done. You don't know every step you've made, that you've crossed my path, that you've insulted me, that you've degraded me. Degraded me. That's why I would call you a cunt. That's why I would tell you you're a dime a dozen. That's why it's easy to look away. That's why I ignored you. I didn't go out with other women. I stayed home with my fucking children every day. Every fucking day. And it was worth it. Better than being with you, you fucking cunt bitch. Bitch!
Now, Louis's side of the story, He actually reached out to a YouTube creator, Adam Newell, and basically insisted the whole thing was fake, created by artificial intelligence, AI. But here's where it gets messy. Adam ran an AI check, and it was inconclusive. It kind of suggested the lighting wasn't AI, but couldn't say for sure the video wasn't AI. So, not exactly a clear answer. Plus, you've got people online saying, no way, that video's real. They're claiming it was even shown in court like 6 years ago, which totally contradicts his whole AI story. As you can imagine, fans had a strong reaction. Lots of people calling the clip disturbing, scary, and saying Lewis seems unhinged. So this was today's update about the alleged Ruelas rant. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we are going to talk about the latest, pretty volatile episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Yeah, this one really demonstrates how quickly those alliances can just crumble, right? It details the chaotic end of their group trip, highlighting this really bitter feud between Meredith and Britani. And, oh yeah, revealing a surprising shakeup in Bronwyn and Todd's marriage. So the tension really started boiling when Britani brought up a rumor, apparently from TikTok, claiming Seth, that's Meredith's husband, had a mistress. Now, Meredith, who clearly thinks Britani is just disgusting and has no brain, was also super upset with Whitney for not warning her about the video sooner. Things escalated when Meredith, with some help from Bronwyn, actually put on inflatable animal suits, yeah, you heard that right, to toss Britani's stuffed unicorn, Uni, into the sea. Kind of cruel, right? But the feud really hit its peak on the commercial flight home. Britani was seated right in front of Meredith, who, according to Whitney and Heather, was completely unhinged, yelling so loudly about Britani that she could apparently be heard through Britani's headphones. Britani claims Meredith took it way too far, alleging hair-pulling and even seat-shaking. Lisa also got accused of kind of fueling Meredith's rage, which Britani saw as the ultimate betrayal. Now, Meredith denies it was that bad, saying she wasn't arrested and calling it all a big nothing sandwich. But Mary did confirm she woke up multiple times hearing Meredith just venting nonstop. Then the focus kind of shifts to Bronwyn. She admitted she actually kicked her husband Todd out for the night after a picture surfaced showing him looking at other women on a plane. Bronwyn confessed she sent Todd to a hotel, explaining she's looking to evolve their relationship, possibly even exploring an open marriage, saying she prefers honesty over secrets. Meanwhile, Lisa, she's refusing any accountability for the flight drama, just claiming she was preserving her peace and insisting Britani needs to take responsibility for bringing up that rumor in the first place. So this was today's update about the ongoing drama in Salt Lake City. Let's now move on to the next update.
Okay. Next, we are going to talk about Kathy Griffin's latest comments regarding her long-running feud with Andy Cohen. So the comedian was recently on Dear Media's Good Guys podcast, with Josh Peck and Ben Soffer, and she talked about where she and Cohen stand today and really what caused their whole professional relationship to break down. Now, a lot of people think the bad blood started when Cohen replaced her as co-host on CNN's New Year's Eve special back in 2017. And yeah, that didn't help. She's also accused him before of offering her drugs before Watch What Happens live appearances. But Griffin clarified things actually started going south way earlier, back when she was starring in her Bravo show, My Life on the D-List. That ran for 6 seasons, starting way back in 2005. She actually called Cohen a difficult boss during that time. Interestingly, she kind of took some responsibility too. She thinks her part in the drama was being maybe too direct. Like she thought she could talk like the no bullshit guys in comedy when getting notes from the network. She also really pushed back hard near the end of My Life on the D-List when Bravo wanted to make it more of a scripted reality hybrid thing. That fight ultimately led to the show getting canceled in 2011. Looking back now, she expressed some shame, even calling herself a bad feminist. She said if she could do it over, she probably would have been kinder and gentler with Andy. As for where things are now, Griffin basically conceded Cohen won the game of life. Citing his exec status at Bravo, his nightly show, him deciding who becomes a housewife, the whole shebang. Reconciliation? She doubts it. She noted Cohen's been pretty tough on her publicly and just isn't really wired that way to, bury it and come together.